All right, welcome to my first ever live stream. Never done this before, so bear with me as I work my way through this. Let's see. This is interesting. So the purpose of this live stream was just to talk about the Hill HX50. That was the goal, just to talk about helicopters. I've never done a live stream before, so it was kind of fun to get on here and just talk about helicopters with anyone that wanted to talk about helicopters with me. But yesterday we had a terrible day in aviation and a terrible day in helicopters, and there was that fatal 206 accident down in New York City. It's hard to talk about. There's not a lot to say. I'm not going to speculate on the accident. It is way too soon, but man, it sucks every single time. It sucks really bad. It's heart-wrenching, especially those videos that came out of the accident. Pretty terrible. I want to talk about it, and maybe I will at some point, but it is just way too soon. Marcus, I'm going to put this over here so that I can see you guys. Yeah, I want to talk about this. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Open widget. All right, hold on. I'm just going to adjust these settings real quick. Maybe I can boost up the quality real quick. Give me 1 second. Output. Streaming. All right, hold on. Let's see. Let's try this. Alright, let's see. You guys let me know how the quality looks. Let me know how it's coming across on your end. Yeah, give me 1 second. Just working my way through this. Alright. Can anyone comment and just let me know how the quality is? Let me know how it looks, and then we'll keep going from there. Oh, that looks pretty bad. Hold on. Let's see. Alright, I'm gonna bring this over here real quick. Hold on, bear with me. We'll get through it. Settings. Okay. Alright. Hi. Hi, Gary. Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry, I'm just working through this quality. Alright, 10,000, that looks a little bit better. Alright, we'll see if this is better. You guys just let me know in the chat how it feels, how it looks, how the quality is, if it looks good. So yeah, welcome back if you're just joining me. The purpose of this was to talk about the Hill HX50, talk about what's going on in the helicopter industry. I said this at the start a couple minutes ago, but yesterday was obviously a pretty terrible day for aviation, for helicopters, for pilots, for the industry. That accident down in New York City was terrible. It was one of the worst accidents that I've seen. Those videos that came out of it were terrible, and you just feel terrible for everyone involved. Obviously, the people on board the helicopter is terrible. Yeah, they're no longer with us, and that absolutely it's horrific. But also the people in the industry, the people connected, the pilot's family. It's hard to describe how bad it is. So I'm not going to speculate on it. It's too soon. I think I'm going to put out a video next week talking about it. Not speculating it. The purpose of my channel was never to talk about death or the accidents in the industry, kind of. It was just to talk about helicopters. So I don't know that I'm the right guy to really talk about what actually happened. I mean, I fly helicopters, an instructor, but it's hard to. I don't know if that's my job or that's my purpose. So I don't think I'll do like an accident analysis of that one. I've done some accident analysis, but I try to keep them to non-fatal accidents because it just feels better to me. Talking about and profiting off of people's deaths seems not great. Even if we are trying to learn, which is the goal of this channel, is to learn about accidents, it seems not great. So I think I'm going to hold my tongue on the actual analysis of that, but I think I'll post a video next week about what happened and how it affects the industry, because there are some major implications of that. Yeah, I think it could affect the industry pretty significantly. So maybe I'll make a video about that next week. But for everyone joining, hello, thank you all. Gary, Giuseppe, yeah, and James Saunders, hello, how's it going? So as I'm going through this, we're just hanging out. Feel free to just drop questions in the chat, and I'll answer them as we go. If you want to know anything about me, I'm happy to talk about that. If we can talk about anything helicopter related, feel free to talk about that. If you guys came here specifically to talk about the Hill HX50, let's get started with that. I'm gonna share my screen, and I just want to go through. I'm gonna go through the comments on that Hill HX50 video, and we can kind of get into a discussion. We can disagree, we can agree, but the purpose of me doing that video was to just share my true thoughts about the Hill HX50. I have a lot of concerns and just thoughts about that project. I know some people think that I didn't research that video at all and that I just threw it together and I'm just trying to be a negative Nancy for a reason. That is not true. I put actually quite a bit of time into that video, and I did plenty of research, quite a bit of research to learn about that project. And what I said in that video are my true, honest thoughts. Some people are very bought into the project, some people are not so. It is interesting among the helicopter industry that I have seen pretty much only 100% positive coverage of the project. Besides on like some Reddit forums, everyone has been like extremely positive with the project, which is cool because we need innovation in the helicopter industry. However, there's been like almost no negativity around it, and that just strikes me as a little bit weird because it is a very ambitious project, like hyper ambitious project. So to have no one question it seems weird. So I happen to take the less hopeful view on it, and that's what I put out into that video. Let me read through some of these comments. Alright. I remember a lesson called Flap back in flight school. I wonder what was that lesson Flap about? I think the Bell 206 blades are too low. What do you mean? What do you mean too low? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, please elaborate on that. And then James says, can you give my dad and uncle a shout out? Big fans. Well, huge shout out to your dad and to your uncle. I'm glad you guys are fans. Thank you for watching my content. It is crazy to me that anybody watches this because I just like to talk about helicopters and share my experience. So thank you everyone for watching that, and big shout out to your uncle and to your dad. I've got a deposit on one. Okay, nice. 100 Club. Helicopters too old as Cessna 152. Please elaborate on that. But okay, so James, you've got a deposit on one of these Hill HX50. So let's do that. I'm gonna share my screen here. So yeah, let's do this. Let's share my screen and let's just go to YouTube. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna open this in a new tab. Let's go to this one. That's fine. Yeah, let's go to this and let's open a new tab. Okay, let's go to this and let's go to my YouTube channel. And let's just read the comments about this. So, we're gonna click on this.
Hey everyone, welcome.
Some of the comments on this. Let me just read these comments. Hi Devin, hello, hope you're well. Good evening, Joe. How are ya? I would reach out to the CEO off the record and just chat. I've shaken his hand and talked to him, very transparent through the entire process. I believe you. And one of the things that I didn't want to do in that video was talk badly about the CEO himself or anyone at the company, because there are very hardworking people at this company, and I don't doubt that, and they are doing some incredible work. However, that doesn't take away the speculation I have, the concerns I have, the points that I brought up in that video. I think there is some real question marks about the project. So, all right, let me, I'm gonna change this over. Let's do that, and let's see. How well can you guys see these comments? Yeah, like that. That looks pretty good. All right. When my rotors bend down and touch the tail. Yeah, I mean, that is a concern. There's lots of concerns with a two-bladed rotor system. Sorry, I just got distracted. There's all these videos about that crash yesterday, and it's terrible. And there are people talking and speculating about that accident, and I'm sorry, I'm going off a tangent real quick, but there are people speculating about that accident. I think speculation is one thing. Understanding what happened is important, and that's what we're all trying to do. Understand what happened so that we can prevent it in the future. But speculating and just trying to provide analysis like this soon, I don't know, there's something weird about it to me, and maybe I'm too connected. Maybe I'm too connected to the project because to that incident, because I used to do that exact job. I used to fly tours and charters down in New York City. I flew that exact same flight path. A bunch of people I know knew this pilot, and that part is hard. That part sucks. So I think speculation this early, I don't know, there's something wrong about it. I don't know. I don't like it. But let's read some of these comments. And then as I'm reading through some of these comments, please feel free to just chime in and give me your thoughts. Hi there. You guys can see that. Yeah. Hi there. I live near the Hill factory in the UK. I have also delivered equipment to their facility. Their dedication to perfection and getting it working right is incredible. I didn't believe they would pull it off years ago, but their determination, persistence has changed my mind. They may miss their time frame and exceed their price prediction, but I believe it will happen. Thanks for sharing cool content. You're welcome. I'm glad I could share this content. So let's break this down. I believe they also have a ton of dedication. I think they are dedicated to this project. I don't know, I haven't talked to them personally, so just from the outside looking in, I think they are probably dedicated to this project. I didn't believe they would pull it off years ago. I didn't either. Actually, I would say I was more hopeful initially when this came out. I posted some videos about it, and I was like super hopeful about the project. As it stands now, I'm less hopeful about it. So maybe I've moved the opposite way. Their determination, persistence has changed my mind. That's great to see. They may miss their time frame. I think they're going to miss their time frame. I think 2027 is like super optimistic. The reason why I came to these maybe harsh opinions about this so recently is because I did that video about the AW09, and then I tracked how long that project has taken. From starting to where it is now, that has been like over 20 years in the making. If you look at the Bell 525, the Bell 505, any new helicopter, it just takes so long. And those projects are from large established manufacturers. Now you're talking about a brand new helicopter and a brand new engine and avionics. Even if they did everything super simply, to still be promising this in 2027 strikes me as extremely optimistic at best. Okay. M-Dog, FPV, we're like less than 4 months from engine, fire, and 8 months from first flight. I agree. I think that's what they say. Let's go to the Hill website real quick. Let's go see what Hill HX50. Let's see if they have a countdown timer or something, because I think so they're talking still like very soon. Let's see. Okay, program milestones. First full engine run, June 28th, 2025. 77 days, 5 hours, 44 minutes, and 25 seconds. And then first flight test, December 20th, 2025. And then production starting next year. Production start December 7th of 2026. So allegedly they're gonna run this full. Can you guys see that? Yeah, they're gonna run this full flight test campaign in a year. So from first flight test to having everything locked in into actually producing the aircraft in a year, that strikes me as extremely fast. Also, first full engine run in June. If you go watch their most recent video that they posted, not their most recent, but like one of the more recent, YouTube Hill HX50, they were still doing GT50 engine developments. Let me take these off real quick, because maybe I'm screaming. So,
hi guys, and welcome back to PC1. I'm sorry it's been a few weeks since I last spoke to you. Everybody across the team is maxed out with engineering at the moment, getting GT50 to run.
So I watched this video. This one was released 8 days ago. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on 2x speed and we can watch through this. And I'm just going to break this down as I see it.
Testing, but then touching every other area of the program, and we'll drip those out over the next few days and update every 2 or 3 days or so. Let's make a start with testing the GT50. So let's start with the starter generator system for the GT50. When we last spoke at the AMA, we completed the initial phase of testing, which was running the system as a motor all the way up to the engine ignition speed, and then running the system up to 40,000 RPM, operating its normal range for generating. During that testing, we identified a couple of little problems. One with the rotor position sensor. We've then designed a new position sensor, integrated that into the NGU, and manufactured all of the new components to allow us to validate that. We've subsequently completed all of the testing with the new position sensor. That allowed GenU to validate the performance of the power management unit, calibrate all of the internal algorithms in the control system, and he's more recently been hooking this up to an electrical load to get the system working under load. In the meantime, we've been just optimizing slightly the rotor dynamic design of the mechanical parts of the starter.
So here's my initial thought process, and this is just coming from the pilot perspective. I'm not an engineer, but just a pilot perspective. I think the fact that they are still making all these small tweaks to the starter generator and still working their way through final design elements is like, you haven't locked in a full design for the starter generator, and he said that they're still making small tweaks. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it, you got to make small tweaks, but if you're going to have a full engine run by June, sure, maybe. First full engine run in June, and then if that goes perfectly, then you still have to build the whole rest of the helicopter for a test flight in 6 months? I mean, January, February, March, April, 8 months. I think that just strikes me as like extremely fast.
The generator. What we found is that in order to get this running smoothly throughout its operating range, it had to be so carefully balanced because of the high speed that it runs at, that it was becoming impractical as a manufacturing solution. We'd find too many of them were just out of tolerance when we were making them in volume. So what we've done is we've moved away from the original bearingless design where the whole rotor was overhung from the gas generator rotor, and now we've gone to a more traditional dual bearing design. Adds a little bit of complexity to the design, but not a lot. We've respun the shaft, manufactured those components. They've been off to be balanced appropriately to the right tolerances, and the new shaft with the new rotor on will be back here today, which will allow us to complete the next phase of testing that will run through the full operating speed range and get the whole system running under full electrical load, as well as at its highest corners of the speed envelope as well. So really pleased with how that's going on. It's been very, very impressive how the team have managed to turn around these updates so quickly. You have to understand that the whole story of this year as we go through the year is going to be build the first one, find the problems, fix the problems, get the performance right, move on. And the guys have done a smashing job with that on the NGU. So within next week.
Okay, so we're not going to just sit here and watch the Hill HX50 video, but Helly, that's Steve. I just want to respond to this comment that you just wrote. Let's see. You're suggesting that this work is subreal. It is not. There's teams working on it, each of these components areas in parallel. For sure, that makes perfect sense. You would not just have a couple guys working on it, you would have multiple people working on multiple different teams, I agree, working on the project. Here is what I find interesting, and please, anyone in the chat, feel free to let me know what your thoughts are. I worked at a aircraft startup company called Beta Technologies, and they are building an electric eVTOL company. I've been transparent about that. I thought it was a great job. That's where I flew the Cabri. I was just a flight instructor there. I just taught people how to fly the Cabri G2, and that was a great job, but that's what they were doing there. If you go on their website and you go to careers, Beta Technologies, and you go to careers, they're hiring tons of people, tons of jobs, because they need lots of people for different types of jobs, like staff accountant, senior airframe assembly technician, propulsion systems engineer, manufacturing technician. ultrasonic, so all sorts of jobs. If you go to Robinson Helicopter jobs, and if you go look at Bell, so I mean, Robinson Helicopter, all sorts of jobs, careers. Paint prepper, welder, stockroom clerk, machinist, pages and pages. And then you go to sustaining engineer, whatever, just lots of jobs. Bell has this too. If you go and look at Hill HX50 or Hill Helicopters jobs, careers, open positions, there's one. Avionics engineer. I didn't talk about this in the video, and maybe I should have, but this just strikes me as weird. I said that in the video. You're building a whole helicopter, and you have one open position on your website. There's an expressions of interest with a closing date of October of 2036. But the only position on your website that you are actively hiring for is avionics engineer. So, I mean, we can read through this, but I mean, so this looks like a legit position. Overview: the Hill Avionics and Electrical team is responsible for building in-house avionics systems for the HX50 and the HC50, including the cockpit display system. Whatever. Basic qualifications. Okay, sure. But there's one job opening. Expression of interest. I think this is probably just for like a random. We invite you to express your interest in working with us at Hill Helicopters. If you don't see a specific position that aligns with your skills and experience, we encourage you to share your aspirations with us. Our team will inform you. So this is just like a basic like resume drop. Does anyone else find this like kind of odd that you are not have like tons of... So, okay, even if you look at Archer is another, Archer Aviation jobs. Even if you look at this company, Archer, and I'd be more skeptical about eVTOLs, but if you look at Archer, go to their website, and you look at, okay, well, let me see if I can find jobs real quick. Archer, company, Archer Aviation Marketing Lead. Well, I don't want LinkedIn. Archer Aviation.company. Company, investor. Can we go to Archer homepage? And then maybe they have careers on there. I don't know. But I was looking at this the other day because I was just curious. Okay, company, Archer, careers. This is a startup company too. Am I missing it? Yeah, here you go. So look at all these jobs. Let me pull this over. Look at all these jobs. Head of product flight test mechanic, head of tax, lead flight control systems engineer, manager at ECAD. Startup company too, but they have tons of jobs because they're building a product and they've got a full team behind them. Does anyone else find this weird? I'm not trying to bash them as a company, but like, how do you only have one open position? So let me come over here to the chat. Let's see if I can, you guys start talking in the chat. Tell me what your thoughts are. I'm just curious because I could be wrong. I said that all throughout the whole video, and I wanted it to come across clearly that I could be wrong. There's lots of information that I could potentially be missing. I could be totally wrong on this, but I think Downwash says fake it till you make it. I don't know if they're faking it. MDog, FPV. Lol, you think it's weird that Hill has already filled those roles? No. I think it's odd that they're not hiring for more. My perspective, the most important thing that you can do while when you're building anything is just hire more people, more hands, more people to put stuff together, more brains. You just need people. That's like one of the most important things is people just to put stuff together. You have one open position. One open position. I mean, even if you think maybe they have every other position filled, people leave, so you always need more people, and your team is constantly growing if you're constantly taking in new orders and you're trying to expand as a company. One position, like one legitimate position, avionics engineer, Come on, man. Like, anyone? Okay, Joe Martin. Tom agreed. I have more trouble believing it will pass all the airworthiness certification process in that time frame than I do that it's possible to engineer, test, and manufacture in that time. I think that's a great point too. Okay, granted, like let's say that they are able to get through building a brand new GT50 engine, the avionics, all the flight controls, which that goose, I think they call it the gooseneck. Maybe that's not the exact name, but I think that new cyclic design is, first off, beautiful. That is so cool. Not to have it come up through your legs, but to have it come through, come top down. I think that's a great design. But to get through all of that and build the whole composite, all the structure, everything, and then still to get airworthiness, and even if you do it like experimentally, I mean, there's just a lot of hiccups here. By 2027? Okay, reminds me of Theranos. I'm not going to say it reminds me of anything, and I'm not saying anything necessarily bad about the project. I'm just calling it like I see it, and I have concerns. Theranos, if you're unfamiliar, Theranos is a company that went bankrupt because they were promising a lot and they were not able to deliver. That's a pretty simplified way of explaining it. I don't know. I think in aviation, it's very hard to bring products to market. It is extremely hard, and it should be because of, think about yesterday. The Bell 206 is an extremely proven platform, extremely proven, and still something clearly went wrong. We don't know what it was. We don't know whether it was pilot, whether it was purely mechanical, but something clearly went wrong. So we can't have that happening. We have to have very safe, strongly certified aircraft that have been tested to the limits, and that we clearly know where the envelope is, and we can keep the aircraft inside the envelope. It is utterly crucial that these aircraft are tested. And you're saying that you haven't done it, it's April of 2025, and you haven't done your engine run yet. All we have seen is a mock-up, and you're gonna go put people in this aircraft in 2027? Like, after yesterday, I mean, that just strikes me as odd, man. Alright. Surprisingly, the factory tour looks legit. Let's go watch that. Let's watch that. This is the difference between a traditional engineering and manufacturing engineering organization. A lean team's approach. Tesla Model Y team behind the 2026 Juniper release, 23 people total. Cybercab team 11. If that's true, that's fascinating. I mean, I think, if that's true, so what is your objective here? Well, I'll tell you my objective. I have absolutely no objective. My objective here is to talk about helicopters because I like helicopters. I think I like flying helicopters. I'm a pilot. I have a vested interest in the industry, so I'm just calling it like I see it. I have no connection to anyone. I'm just calling it how I see it. Like I said, I could be wrong. So please, I could be wrong. I'm just saying it how I see it. I don't have an objective, but back to your point. If those teams were really small, that's cool. I think it's different for an aircraft that you're going to put people in and fly them around the sky. How does it not strike you as weird that they only have one open position? How does that not strike you as weird? But let's go watch that video that we talked about. Let's look at the factory tour. Hill Helicopters factory tour. Yes, exactly. Copter AW09 first flew in 2014, and they're still working on certification as far as I'm aware. Yeah, exactly. The certification process takes so long. The Bell 525, I mean, that is a beautiful helicopter from a very large manufacturer, and that is still in certification. It takes so long to get certification. All right, exclusive tour of Production Center 1. Let's go through this.
In addition to progress from across the HX50 and GT.
I'll put this at 1.5 times speed.
In addition to progress from across the HX50 and GT50 program, we've obviously also been super busy completing the infrastructure build here at PC1. Let's have a quick wander around the facilities and I'll show you some of the major things that we've been completing. To start with, what you can see behind me here is the massive laminating.
Strikes you as impressive? What was the quote? Surprisingly, the factory tour looks legit. Does it? Does it? I don't know. This doesn't look like there's a whole lot in there. It looks like they have the models up front.
The HX50 and GT50 program. We've obviously also been super busy completing the infrastructure build here at PC1. Let's have a quick wander around the facility.
When was this? 4 months ago. Let's see the actual upload date of this. November of last year. So I see the 2 helicopters up here.
And I'll show you some of the major things.
Does it look like there's a lot in here? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Does this look like a manufacturing center?
That we've been completing.
I know in this video, giving them all the benefit of the doubt, in this video, I mean, obviously, they had just moved in and they're still putting it together, so we don't know what the final form is actually going to look like.
To start with, what you can see behind me here is the massive laminating shop that we'll be using to produce all of the HX50 fuselage composite components.
Okay, so, cool. I mean, it's a beautiful looking building. This doesn't look like that large. I have had the benefit of going to the Robinson helicopter factory because I went to the factory training course when I graduated flight school, and that was a massive factory. But obviously Robinson is pumping out way more aircraft, but this doesn't seem like that big. I mean, in terms of floor space, like you have, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. Maybe some engineers can chime in. I don't know. Let's see. Let me just keep up with this. All of this strikes you as odd because the current industry is going to explode when the vertically integrated company succeeds. Yes, potentially you're right. If this actually works and they can vertically integrate and they do everything in-house and they can drive the costs down and they are successful, yeah, it does strike me as odd because it's just obviously not how they do it. And so people that are bought in are taking the gamble that it's going to work. People that are not bought in are going to take the gamble that it's not. If they were right, obviously, yeah, everyone is going to... Well, I'm going to be surprised. You guys, obviously, that are bought in are not going to be surprised. You keep talking about the certification process. Do you understand that the UK Certification Authority has been embedded all the way through the design process? That's cool. That's great. I think that's important that they've been embedded through the design process. That doesn't mean that once you actually have a functioning aircraft that you're going to speed up the timeline. It's going to still take a very long time to go through all the flight testing regimes, test it in all scenarios. It's just a very long process. The factory now has 17 cells and is complete, and this is just PC1. Yes, we do. If you take a look at any of the current videos, you can see what the final form looks like. Okay, great. We'll go watch some. I want to finish this video real quick. Get on a Zoom call with the Hill Heli guys like you did with the Robinson CEO. That interview was legendary. I'd love to. I don't have any connection to Jason Hill. Robinson, actually, they reached out to me, so I don't know how I could get in contact with Jason Hill. If anyone has a connection, that'd be great. People come to me, and they don't have to, but if anyone wants to have the conversation, I'd be willing to. If any of you guys have suggestions on how I could get in contact with Jason Hill, I'd love to. I'd love to. Yeah, he ain't tracking any of this, Steve. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. I mean, the factory is definitely big enough to build 1 or 2 helicopters at a time. Yeah.
Components and blade components.
The question is, how long are they actually going to go through, and how long is it going to take them to build 1 helicopter?
This massive facility in the middle of PC1 is where we take the tools. We have the kit cutting machine for the carbon fibre kitting, and then we also laminate into all of the tools before they go over into the oven for curing, and then back into the trim shop for final trimming and prepping for paint. We've also now completed the trim shop here. We've got the roller shutter doors on that allow us to create a dust-tight environment, allowing us to keep all of the dusty business of making patterns and trimming carbon fibre components all in here and away from the precision and clean operations elsewhere in PC1. In between the trim shop and the gantry mill facility, we've now installed our massive gantry crane. The purpose of this is twofold. Firstly, it enables us to lift the large-scale block-up materials and patterns and molds onto an...
I mean, I have to say, like, it is impressive. Nonetheless, it is impressive. I'm just highly skeptical on the timelines and the specs and the actual production. But nonetheless, I mean, this is hyper... impressive.
Off of the gantry mill via the concertina roof that allows us to load things onto the table, and then...
Alright, so, you guys that are, like, really bought in, let me ask you this. Heli that Steve and MDog FPV, I'm just curious, do you have any concerns? Do you have any concerns at all? Are you 100% bought in, or do you have any concerns? Because I seem to be, like, out here on my own saying, like, I'm kind of concerned about some of the aspects of this project. Do you think everything of this up here is on the up and up? Like, is everything legit? You think all the timelines are going to match? Let me ask you this: do you have any concerns? Because I'm. It was obviously quite. I feel like I'm out here on my own talking about this project, and like I said, I could be wrong. I was trying to be extremely humble with that because I don't know. I don't know everything, and I haven't been following the project extremely tightly. But just from what I have seen and the research I did for that video, I do have my concerns and questions that I aired in that video. So I think it would be wise to have some concerns, and I'd just like to know. Hey, Logan, Pilot Burn, what's up, Devin? Logan, how you doing, my man? Thank you for always checking in. Really good guy, Logan. I always appreciate you checking in. So let's see. I'm going to mute this while you guys talk. I'll be reading the chat.
And secondly, when we've completed the assembly of the prototype helicopters, then we can use this crane with a weighing attachment to weigh and manage the centre of gravity of each unit that we produce. Let's go have a look at the production control office. Welcome to the new production control centre here at PC1. Down here, every element of production of every part.
Actually, I want to turn this up real quick. I want to see what he's saying here.
Of GT50 and HX50 control centre here at PC1. Down here, every element of production of every part of GT50 and HX50 are controlled by Mark and his wider team. The production engineers that are based down here essentially write all of the programs to control the CNC machines, all of the quality control and inspection processes that are used in the metrology lab, and control every aspect of the production of every part that we make, all the way from goods inwards through to the flow of materials through the factory, through every process, until we've got finished parts ready to be kitted and brought together into assemblies. The facility down here is totally self-contained. We've got all of the people that work on production based here, led by Mark, and then we've also got self-contained breakout meeting rooms to allow any problems that crop up day to day to be resolved quickly and efficiently. The cool thing about coming down here is you always get to see the next thing that's coming down there.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's see what you guys' response are. I have no concerns with any aspect of the program in terms of their approach to systems, their designs, their staffing, their capabilities, and their teams. I've been in a UK twice, check them out. We've already had 2 delays where Hill has pushed out the time frame from what we originally signed up for, but due to the transparency and us being tuned in pretty much every week to the owners. It is an ambitious startup company. There's always going to be concerns, for sure. Group stuck with him. My concern remains that I wouldn't be surprised if there is another significant delay, which is fine. I agree. Logan says, I think it's too good to be true. I think that if you were bought in, then you might have tunnel vision. I agree with that. I think there is the benefit of not being bought in because I haven't been following that project so closely, so I have a very zoomed out view. Maybe that means I'm not tracking the updates as closely, so maybe I don't understand the full scope of it, but also being zoomed out, I can see red flags popping up that maybe I couldn't see if I was really tuned in more. I agree that the timeline seems impossible. Yeah, 2027 is like hyper ambitious. It is critically important to all of us. I own privately a 206 that costs an absolute fortune. I just spent $250 on a new turbine engine. Super expensive. Yeah, I agree. Somebody has to change this industry. Somebody has to disrupt it, and that's who we're backing. I totally get behind that. I think this is one thing that I can't stand about the helicopter industry is it is so incredibly expensive to get into it. I took out in all my videos, if you guys have watched about how I paid for flight school and flight school costs, I paid $115,000 to become a helicopter pilot, and that sucks. And that is a huge barrier of entry for people to get into the market. And we're just talking about pilots, but for owners, it's unbelievable and unacceptable that it's that expensive. I don't know if unacceptable is the right word because it is what it is, but it is just so incredibly expensive. So I want there to be a company that comes along and disrupts it. I totally get behind the project. I do. I mean, I see it and I want it too. Like, that's why I started this channel, because I love helicopters. I want people to become pilots. I want people to know about the industry. I'm so passionate about helicopters and aviation. You guys can see it. That's why I'm doing a live stream on a Friday night. This is like fun for me. I like helicopters. So I want people to be involved with it. But that doesn't mean that I don't have concerns about Hill and what they're doing. If anyone comes in, it's gonna be concerning, and I get it. I mean, anyone that tries to do this, it's going to be hard, but there are just some things that strike me as weird, and that's why I produced the video, is because I wanted to tell you what I thought was weird. And I think some of the things they're doing it just strikes me as weird, but maybe there's no other way around it. And I am not an expert on this, but I like to have an opinion, and I'm sharing my opinion. So let me see what everyone else has said. Somebody has to change the industry, somebody has to disrupt it, and that's what we're backing. I agree with that. The maintenance and operating costs is as planned. I like the company idea, I just have suspicions. Yes, Logan, we're tracking on the same page, I agree. The thing is, the Hill won't be cheaper than a 206 or an R66. If it is, it will be unreliable or unsafe. Okay, let's dig into that, because that is something I want to talk about. In that video, you know what? I actually have, let's see. I'm going to go to my video real quick. So let's talk about the things in this video. How building everything in-house is a... Okay, building it... Let's go through this point by point. Oh, you guys can't see that. There you go. You can see that? Okay. I'm gonna go... Let's do that right there. Building everything in-house is a pipe dream. I think building everything in-house is kind of crazy. Certain things, okay, I get it. You can do a lot of vertical integration. The engine is a crazy thing to bring in-house. If you had a lot of money, and the one thing I talked about is, like, if you had a partner, if you were going to do this with, like, Safran or Pratt & Whitney or, I don't know, Ariel, whatever, you could, if you had a partner, I'd be like, all right, they're working with another company. You're doing this all by yourself. Like, if you look at how long it takes, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT, and you guys, some people are bought in, I'm bought in. Introducing ChatGPT. Let me try this. How long does it take to develop a turbine engine? No, can I stay logged out? Okay. Developing a turbine engine is a huge engineering project. Can you guys see that? Yeah. It's a huge engineering project, and the timeline depends on what kind of turbine you're thinking about. Jet engine for aircraft, power generation turbine, or industrial use. Here's a rough breakdown. Aircraft turbine engine, jet engines. Time frame 5 to 10 years, sometimes more. Why so long? These engines are incredibly complex, need to be safe and reliable under extreme conditions, and require rigorous testing and certification. Development can include conceptual designs, computer modeling and simulations, prototyping, rig testing, full engine testing, including flight testing, certification, FAA, EASA, etc. Okay, so sure, development includes, let's just go with this. You can believe ChatGPT or not, but I tend to think that this is a pretty fair analysis. Conceptual designs, let's say that they already clearly have an engine design concept, so they have that. Let's say they've already gone through the computer modeling and simulations. Prototyping, that's where they're at right now. I mean, they have an engine, but they haven't done a full run. Let's say they do the full run and something goes wrong, which is more likely than unlikely. If you think that they have the engine design and then they're going to do the test run and it's going to run perfectly, I think that is the less likely case. I think they're more likely to encounter problems. So prototyping, multiple iterations, that's going to take a while. Rig testing, like compressor, fan, combustor tests, okay, yeah, that's all true. That's going to take a long time. Full engine testing, okay, bench testing, all of that. So they're saying, okay, it's April right now. If you go to their website, they say Hill HX50. We just saw this. I won't go back and look at it, but they said that they're going to try to do that flight test this year. So even if that slips to next year, all of your bench testing and just the testing of the engine before you even put it into the aircraft, you're going to do all of that you're going to do that all within a year. I think that's insane. Full engine testing, including flight testing. Yeah. And then once you actually get into the helicopter, timelines take so long, and like going through flight testing campaigns are so long. There's so many different aspects to flight test campaigns. Like I said, I worked for a company called Beta Technologies, and I just overheard some of the conversations, and I got to watch some of the flight tests, and the flight testing campaigns and like how rigorous they are. It's so incredibly hard. And then to actually go through the certification and the paperwork with FAA and the EASA is just a very, very, very long process. Okay, let's see. What's up, Carson? How are you? Okay, let me come back here. Okay, the thing to keep in mind is that they are fully capitalized. They have zero debt. That's a good point. That's great. I think that's great. I'm just reading through the chat here, so I know there's a little delay, so you guys can read in the chat with me. I'm reading from Helly, that's Steve. Helly, that's Steve. That's a great name. They have zero debt. They purchase every piece of production equipment, and they have terrific order book. And as you have commented before, our deposits are non-refundable. As long as Jason and his team are well fed, well capitalized, this will happen. I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think these projects go way over budget and way over timeline, and maybe they have what they have right now. If their timeline keeps slipping, how many new orders, how much new injection of cash are they going to get when things inevitably get more expensive, and inflation keeps creeping up? I mean, all these different things. How much more money are they going to get? Logan said, I think 2029, when the SFAR is gone for Robinson, R22, and R44, it's going to be great because it will lessen the cost of training. I think there's some truth in that. I think the reduction of... I didn't comment on my thoughts on the reduction of SFAR 73 for the 22 and the R44. I think that is... I don't know. You guys... let me know your thoughts, and then maybe I'll comment on it. I guess I really haven't thought that much about it. I see the pros and the cons to reducing SFAR 73, but I mean, it obviously has a negative implication for Robinson because people think Robinson helicopters are more dangerous than other helicopters, and maybe there is some truth in that, but they're also the most manufactured helicopter, and they're the most flown and most widely available helicopter. So obviously there's going to be the most accidents in that type of helicopter and most fatalities in that type of helicopter because there's the most of those flying. So I think the reduction in SFAR 73 could be good. I also think it could be bad. I don't know. What do you guys think? Carson, what's up, man? How are you? Downwash says, off-topic question. How do you deal with the daily trauma of seeing seriously injured? Please share some of your HEMS experiences. I love talking. I'm going to go full face here. We'll bring it back to the chat. So yeah, in helicopter EMS, helicopter air ambulance, helicopter EMS, I go back and forth. Some people really get on me. They're like, it's called helicopter air ambulance now. And like, yes, it is. But it is also functionally known as helicopter EMS. So I call it both. It depends on the mood. You'd be surprised. So it depends on where you're working, but where I work, we don't do as many scene calls as you think. Like trauma calls, like where someone's like really hurt, it's less common than an interfacility. An interfacility is what we get, like I'd say probably 60 to 65% of our calls are interfacility, where we're taking someone from like a smaller hospital to a larger hospital because they need a higher level of care. So when you do that, I mean, it's just like people are intubated and they're on a lot of medications and you actually get kind of used to it. The trauma ones, when you have a very traumatic one, those are hard, but it depends on the operation, but I really don't have that much interaction with the patient. Sometimes they'll need help loading or unloading, but usually they got it. My med crew has it, so I don't get to see it that much, but there's times where there has been an injured patient and they have bled all over the helicopter. And that's hard, you know, because you have to go back to the base and decontaminate, and you're out of service for a while because you're just like cleaning all the blood off. And I do help with that because it's my helicopter and I'm not going to just leave the med crew to it, you know, throw on gloves, all the personal protection equipment, and then we clean out the helicopter. And that part is hard, but it's not that common that you get like a hyper traumatic one. But to summarize, it doesn't really affect me that much. I don't know. For some reason, I don't get that sick by it. Steve, the engine team at Hill consists of engineers from Safran, from Rolls-Royce, from Ariel, and they are extremely well capitalized. Why wouldn't they do it in-house? The designs are not unique to Hill. That's true. I mean, and a turbine engine is extremely simple. A reciprocating piston engine is also very simple. Engines, once you learn them, I mean, it's not like a super hard design. So why can't you do it in-house? You definitely can. It's just the timeline and the amount of money. You make a great point about well capitalized. That's a big point. How much money do they have? If anyone knows like their amount of cash on hand, that'd be hyper relevant. I think the runway, if you have more money, obviously you have more runway and you can really go for this. How much money do they have? That's the question. That's a question I have. All right. The engine team at Hill, okay, I just read that. They have been developing for over a decade. Have they? Okay. MDog FPV, please elaborate on that. Hill won't be the first company to build their own engine and helicopter. Connor Heli is a small company that built their own engine for their ultralight helicopters. That's really cool. That's fascinating. I think the reason that this story has picked up steam, unlike other helicopter manufacturers or people that are doing it for the amateur or experimental category, I think the reason why this one feels different is just because the way the helicopter looks. This is battling like the big boys, which is good. The Leonardo, Bell, Airbus, the Hill HX50 is like kind of right in that category. I mean, and in terms of looks, the looks outpace any other helicopter. So I guess the reason why this is ruffling feathers and why I have concerns about it is they are promising the world and hopefully they are able to deliver it. One thing that I was always taught, and I think most people know it, but it's under promise and over deliver. And right now, it appears to me like Hill is over promising, and are they gonna under deliver? So, and if they over promise and deliver that, like that, they're gonna be like the best in the best of the best in the world. But right now, it's like they have promised the world. You got to deliver a lot because you've promised everything. That's just how I see it. All right. Let's keep going. There is an absolute expectation that every single system and component will fail in testing and require rework. Okay, that's great. This has already happened for the starter generator, as you mentioned. Okay, yeah. I think in flight testing and just regular testing campaigns, for sure, things are going to fail. So, one of the main points I talked about is like the timeline. Did I, in my Hill HX50, Underbell's crazy, performance claims don't make sense, red flags. I don't know exactly where I talked about. Okay, so let's, and building everything in-house is crazy. I kind of talked about that, but let's talk about price point. Let's drop some comments about price point. Let me know what you guys think about price point. Let me keep going faster. There's a lot in the chat, and I gotta keep up. Okay, hi Devin. Thanks for being the devil's advocate. Investors need to be skeptical. How many lawyers does Hill have for any lawsuits that will eventually happen? Great question. Yeah, it's like I think people need to be skeptical. I mean, if you're investing all the money in, you put a down deposit in the helicopter. If you put a down payment or a deposit into the helicopter, you've obviously ran the calculation, the pros and cons list in your own head, but I'm calling it from like an outsider perspective. I'll be honest, I have not been following the project super tightly. Logan made this comment, but maybe that's a good thing because I can see it just from like, I don't know, a 20,000 foot view. I see it from far away and there's just like things that pop up. If you are bought in, you really want to make sure your money has value. So I think that's a concern too. Like, yeah, and for anyone joining now, I made this point earlier, but like everything about the Hill HX50 has been extremely positive, and I think that's great because I want them to succeed too, but I haven't seen that much negative commentary about it, which is like cool, but like where's the negative commentary? Especially from like pilots and people in the industry, like where's anything negative about it? Because like you are promising the world, you are promising such a cool helicopter, and I want it to happen, but like there's no one else like, I mean, maybe some people, there's been some skeptics, but like really loud voices, no one's really talking about. I don't know. Okay. They laminate glass, which they formulate. Sorry, I'm not going to read through that. The testing and tweaking is happening now. Okay, good, great. Everything will fail, but the difference here is the time to iterate a fix. If they were working with a starter generator OEM, they would be waiting months to get the latest change implemented. That's a great point. When you are a small startup nimble company, you can just move fast and break things, which is obviously dangerous in aviation. I want to be clear, but you do make a very valid point. When you are not working with a large OEM, a large engine manufacturer with all this bureaucracy, you can move fast. So if they can maybe iterate extremely fastly, but the point is like aviation, do we want to move that fast? Do we want to move super fastly? I don't know. Okay. First thing, there's no need for FAA certification. The certification is reciprocal, so the initial certification is with the authority in the UK. Okay. Well, they might have very good engineers at Hill, but the only problem is people trust companies that have a good name, and the new certification is quite rigorous. Yeah, exactly. I agree. That is reciprocal to EASA, then that is reciprocal to the FAA and Transport Canada and other authorities. Okay. Steve, you made a deposit? Is there a ton of paperwork? Absolutely, but the testing regime is for everything from the crash-worthy seats to the engine or standardized in the industry. Okay. Get Devin in touch with their team. Yes, I'd love to. I'd love to talk to Jason. It would be interesting to sit down because he is extremely good at communicating. He has convinced me of a lot of things. So in that conversation, he could totally convince me. I don't know if I'd be able to remain. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to answer the best questions, but I'd love the opportunity to do it. I would like to see their guaranteed success by using trusted engineers. Yep. Yeah, to answer the question, I have an HX50 on order and an HC50 on order. That's great. Want to trade for an R22? Logan Bass, when the SFAR is gone, it will be terrifying. Having gotten my PPL without SFAR training is a dangerous future. I think the SFAR definitely has some benefits. I'll be honest with you. I think the SFAR is like pretty good. I don't know. It's like the R22 isn't an inherently more dangerous. The R22 and the R44 and a two-bladed rotor system definitely has its challenges. I think SFAR training is pretty beneficial. I think when the SFAR goes away, I think people are still going to reiterate it. But because it's not forced, I don't know, man. I don't know. Is that a good thing? I don't know. It's hard to say. All right. Let's keep going. Even if Hill gets a flying prototype, production is extremely hard. Just ask Elon. That is true. Think about, like, the Teslas. Those are... I mean, it's a relatively simple... I'm not an engineer, but here's my very simple explanation of it from my perspective. You've got a body, and then you've got motors, and electric motors are the simplest motors. I mean, you have wires, copper wires, and magnets, and electricity. And batteries are actually extremely simple. So you've got batteries running through a computer, running to an electric motor, which is basically just copper wire and magnets spinning. So an electric motor, pretty simple. And then like tires and wheels and axles and all the other parts that make up a car, relatively simple. They had so much money behind them, and they struggled for a while with production. And I mean, a Tesla is, in my opinion, objectively a simpler car to build than a combustion engine. So I mean, if they struggled, but like a helicopter, like a turbine engine helicopter, it's hard. Final comment. So he is producing certifiable bearings for the 30th of the cost of purchasing the same bearings from an OEM providers. This is the benefit of using state-of-the-art equipment in-house. That is true, definitely cheaper, but OEMs have worked with the FAA, and these are, I don't know if I'm understanding you correctly, but if those are FAA approved parts and the EASA approved parts, they are expensive, but they paid for that certification and to get this specific part approved. I read the FAR aim, and to teach as a CFI in Robinson, you need more hours than the 150 to teach in others. Teach as a CFI in Robinson, you need more hours than the 150 to teach in others. Yeah, in Robinson helicopters, you have to have extra hours. I think you just need the 40 hours in an R22. Steve, I don't think he has any interest in looking at or watching the Hill videos. Should we go back and watch the Hill videos? Okay. Steve fuming because he threw his money away. Ooh, come on. Let's keep it nice but funny. Real. That is why I keep asking the objective is, it would be nice if Devin invests of the time to learn a little bit more about the program. I mean, man, I think I have stated that I might be wrong more times than I can count because I might be wrong. But I'm just calling it as I see it. I have watched the videos. I've been on the website. Come on, man. There's a couple things that are like super clear, that are like super problematic. 2027, I don't know how that's going to happen. The price point, yes, you guys are all claiming that you can bring everything in-house and it's going to be lower cost than competitors, but lower cost than, like, similar cost to an R44 or an R66 or a Bell 505, like cheaper than an R66 or a Bell 505. Like, come on. You guys are retractable landing gear, beautiful avionics, 3-blade Fenestron. It's just this beautiful helicopter from a startup company, and you're going to be cheaper than an R66. like, I think Robinson definitely does pull a profit from their helicopters, but I don't think their profit margin is like that high. I don't think they're producing these helicopters for like $600,000 or $700,000. I mean, I think the price selling them like just a little bit over cost. They got to make their profit, but like, I don't know, but how are you going to do that price point? I mean, and they're just promising so much. Like, no, I should definitely do more research in most things I do. I agree. There's always more time for research, but from what we have right now, come on, guys, it's like there's some red flags for sure. Okay. I know most training helicopters are Robinsons, so if it could remove the SFAR safely, then yes, it would help get more people into the already thought about getting to the helicopter industry. True, I think there's some truth in that. And with the caveat that it might have a further delay, it would be great if he can find it in himself to be an enthusiastic supporter. I would love to be an enthusiastic supporter. Guys, I started this helicopter channel YouTube channel because I love helicopters. I love talking about helicopters. I've got a little over 100 videos on my channel talking about helicopters because I like flying helicopters. I love flying Robinsons. I love flying Cabris. I love flying turbine helicopters. I love all of it. So I want to be enthusiastic. And Steve, everyone is enthusiastic about this project, which is great. I think it's great. Every single person, it seems like, is enthusiastic about the Hill HX50, which is great. But come on. Any skepticism? Like, you obviously said some, and I think, thank you for having some skepticism about the project, but me just pointing out my skepticism while saying I'm wrong is the most I'm going to do because I think it's true. Dang, I got to keep a... all right, let's keep... Sorry, I'm just reading through this. There's a lot of comments. Let's keep going. Yes, Jason recently said they have enough capital on the bank for 2 years with no more orders. Wow, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. If they can get through engine testing and actually producing if they get through and actually, let me say this, if they flight test this helicopter with this engine in it, that's essentially, I think, I forgot the term, but I mean, it's like, that's like the breaking point. That is like, if they can actually prove that they have flight tested this helicopter with this engine, then they have done it. Then they're gonna have enough money. Then they're gonna have enough like swagger behind them. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they will have enough like cred because they have done it. So if they can in the flight testing do that, then I think they're gonna be like pretty strong. Like you say, Devin, most first helicopter jobs are CFI, so if the SFAR is removed safely, becoming a CFI is a huge progress as a helicopter pilot. 100%, completely agree. I agree. It would have made more sense to build with a known and reliable power plant, throw in some Garmin avionics, and then slowly build out the in-house technology for later versions. I agree. You could have made... I don't know what... I'm not an engineer, I'm not a business owner, but... we're just having fun with the conversation here. Yeah, you could have thrown like a Safran engine. You could have thrown any engine in it that you wanted and any avionics in it. But let's say you really wanted to just like get the proof of concept out there. You wanted to build an engine. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but if you actually came to market with this beautiful helicopter, this beautiful Hill HX50 helicopter, then people would have liked the helicopter. And then if you wanted to further reduce costs, I mean, this is all just like a potential plan, but then if you wanted to further reduce costs, you could have further reduced costs by starting to build your own engine and just slowly building that up. That would have made me less skeptical, but that's just my opinion. I agree. Thank you, Aaron. The reason why you don't see negative commentary as much as you expect is... okay, there was someone in the middle. I'll come back to that. Personally, I'd rather fly a known engine like in a Rolls-Royce 300 or an RR300 than an engine that was completely designed and made by a company who has never made anything. Exactly. Okay, let's think about this. I mean, in that Robinson CEO video I did with David Smith, he said that the engine that's in the Robinson R66 has had over 1 million flight hours without an engine failure. 1 million flight hours, if I step into that engine, or if I step into that helicopter, I'm going to be like, hey, I feel pretty good about this engine. I'm not sure it's going to fail. I think over 1 million hours, that's pretty good. But if you start, and this is like with any new aircraft, but especially a new engine, like a Lycoming 0360 or a 540 that's in like the R22, the R44, the Cabri G2. These have so many flight hours. They're in Cessnas as well. I mean, so many flight hours. Like, we know about that. But if you get into a Hill HX50 and you fly a lot, you could be one of the first to experience a problem. So, okay. Helly, that's it. The key here is transparency. The owners have a custom iOS and Android app with frequent update. We get updates every week and major updates every month. That's great. Okay. Bro, Jace is the easiest person to get a hold of. Lol. Okay, I'll try. I think I'd hope he'd want to have a conversation with me. Yep. In your Robinson interview, Devin, Robinson wishes they had fought harder against the S4. The R44 has as good, if not better, rotor inertia than the 206. I think that's true. And David Smith did say that 100%. If you have flown an R44, the rotor inertia is actually extremely good. I came from Robinson helicopters, and then I flew the Cabri, and the Cabri auto rotates like extremely well. And then, excuse me, let me drink some caffeine-free Diet Coke. I went from the Robinson to the Cabri, and then the first turbine helicopter I jumped into was the 407. 407 is a great helicopter. I love the 407. But those fully articulated rotor heads with these very light blades, that they're just so grippy and they're so agile, and like the 407 is such an agile helicopter. It just goes, I love it. I love that helicopter, but it does not auto rotate good. I would auto rotate a 44 over that, and then I got some time in a 206. A 206 auto is like dreamy. These big heavy rotor systems, they're just, those blades have so much inertia. If you have an engine failure, you can go 1, 2, 3, and then lower the collective. I love that part about it. So rotor inertia is definitely a problem in the R22. The R44, it's not that bad. The R44, I would say, in my opinion, autos, I don't know, a 407 auto is really good too. They're different, but I hope you get the point. Everyone who has paid the reservation fee, which is pretty high, has an incentive to do the propaganda that they will succeed. So Hills will have continuous cash flow from new reservations. I think propaganda is, I totally get what you're saying. I think propaganda is like an interesting word, but they do have a buy-in. People that have put a deposit obviously have a buy-in in the project succeeding. They really want the project to succeed. I mean, to get to the point where you actually put the deposit down, like you have done a lot of analysis and you've really thought about this. I don't think anyone's just like willy-nilly throwing maybe some people are, but I think most people are not willy-nilly throwing tens of thousands of dollars around on this deposit. But I think they definitely do have a vested interest in this project coming to light. So maybe a little bit of rose-colored glasses. I think that's true. I love the R66. It's cheap, proven, and sophisticated. However, I wonder why Robinson didn't use composite blades. I don't know either. I like the R66 too. I think it's a cool helicopter. It definitely has its problems. Because it's so light, I mean, the turbulence and the low G problems with it are interesting. All right, let's keep going on. If you put a non-refundable deposit down and they raise the price to something you can no longer afford, are you just out all that money? Ho. Whoa. I had never thought about that. If you guys can you see that in the chat? Let's talk about this. What a question. Add a name here. What a question. If you put a non-refundable deposit down, so let's say you did this, and then later on they raise the price. Okay, so it makes me wonder, like, did you lock in that contract when you put the deposit down? Did you lock in that price at that point? I'd have to imagine you did. If you didn't, that's crazy. Okay, I don't want to speculate. I don't know that that's true at all. I have absolutely no idea. But what a question. Wow, that's really fascinating. Okay, not fuming, I'm just frustrated. Not fuming, I'm just frustrated. If you all care about seeing our industry disrupted in a positive way, I do want this industry to be disrupted in a positive way. But what? Helicopter pilots are, and people in the aviation industry, we're very analytical. That's our job. Everyone involved in the industry, engineers, mechanics, pilots, very analytical, looking at things holistically, picking up on sensations and thoughts and what people are saying, just thinking logically and analytically. That's what I'm trying to do here. I am positive, and I think that when I initially saw the project, I was very hopeful, and I still am. I just have concerns, so that's why I aired them out. It's amazing. Here's Logan again. It is amazing. I believe the R66 has never had an engine failure. I know, that's crazy. Then, at the very least, I would expect Devin to have gone through all the videos and had the conversation with the Hill team, and maybe this is the factory. Then talk about what seems to be a problem. Yeah, here's the other thing is I'm just a pilot who just lives a regular life. I told you guys, Robinson actually reached out to me too, and I was shocked because I have a small YouTube channel. There's 8,000 of you that tune in and watch my videos, which is crazy. I'm still trying to figure all this out. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't always know what I'm saying. So when Robinson reached out and they were like, "Hey, we like your channel. Would you be interested in a conversation with the CEO?" I said, absolutely, because that is a phenomenal opportunity. I'd love to do the same with Jason. I did not reach out to Robinson, and I have not reached out to Hill. I put in every single YouTube video I post, I put my Instagram, I put my email, so I'm very easy to access. I read all the comments. I'm very easy to get in touch with. People DM me all the time. Sometimes I can respond to them, sometimes I can't. So I'm very easy to get in touch with. And you know, I have a name in the industry, but I'm not that big, so I don't even know if Jason or anyone at the Hill team has seen my videos. So if they wanted to talk to me, I'd love to talk to them and bring up my concerns. Okay, sorry, off on a tangent. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So I gotta go a little bit faster. Come on. It's already 7 o'clock. We're having fun. We're having fun here. Robinson probably make all their money on overhauls and maintenance at not the sale of the helicopter. Huh, great point. Another great point. I don't know the finances of that, but that's a great point. Bill, I wonder if they will try to go to the public to generate more capital. If they do, that will be the end of it, I figure. Interesting. Bill, there currently is no plan for a public offering. They're fully capitalized. Okay, if they got all the money they need. Honestly, you need to fly out to England in June and watch this. Man, I'd love to. We'll see. I mean, the nice thing about helicopter EMS is I think I've talked about this in multiple videos I have, but helicopter EMS, my job, I work 7 days on, 7 days off. So I get a week off every other week. I get 2 weeks off a month. It's fantastic. I love this schedule. So it would be feasible for me to go out there to the UK, and I would love to do that. So maybe we can make that happen. I don't know. Okay. Victor. Hi, Victor. The turbine is unrealistic. It took Russia 5 years to develop a similar turboshaft engine for helicopters, 500 shaft horsepower, base horsepower, and that was done in big existing turbine production facilities and a huge government. That's another thing. The performance specs. Okay, guys, I gotta show you this real quick. I'm gonna keep reading the chat because I love the comments, but come on, guys, just hold on. I will read through this real quick. But okay, here's what I wanted to show you. Hill HX50. Can we do? I'm just gonna go here real quick. If you look at the range estimations on this, okay, let's go here. If you haven't done this yet, come on, man. 700 nautical mile range. Did you guys see it in my video? I'm not trying to laugh or be mean, but okay, where do I talk about range? Price point, owner built is crazy, performance claims. Somewhere in performance claims. Okay, alright, here. I paused the video for like 10 seconds and I was like, this is kind of dramatic, but let it load. Okay. It's all from Google. Granted, it's all from Google, but come on, okay. I looked up range of this. Hill HX50 helicopter has a maximum range of 700 nautical miles. And a cruise speed of 140 knots. Okay, 140 knots, maybe that wasn't the best point. I made that point in the video, maybe there's better points. But 700 nautical miles. Dog. Bell 505. Similar engine shaft horsepower. 306 nautical miles. Now, and I don't know exactly where they're getting these numbers from. So everything here, take it with a grain of salt. And it's like, okay, what is Hill talking about? Is Hill talking about with passengers? Or are they not? Or are they talking solo? But okay, 700. More than double the 505, okay? 2-blade rotor system. Cabri G2, piston, 380 nautical miles, 407 turbine, a little bit more horsepower, but similar. I mean, I would say the 407, maybe the EC130. Okay, let's say EC130. That's got, come on, guys, like similar body form, fenestron, 3 blades. I mean, similar enough, right? 327 nautical miles. Robinson R44, 300 nautical miles, 407, 324. I even threw the 76 in there. I got a little bit of flight time in the 76. It's not a lot, but it is fun. 472 nautical miles. Come on, does it anyone? Where are you getting 700 from? So the point I was going with that, if you go onto their website, I'm just saying the performance claims, like, if you go on to, I don't know where it is, Range Simulator. Here we go. Look at this. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, okay, let's just say, okay, I weigh, let's call it 200 pounds. Let's call it 200 pounds. And let's say I just got like a backpack. And sorry, this is going to be in pounds. But let's just say I've got a backpack that weighs 30 pounds. And the fuel. Can I change my fuel? I can't change my fuel. But if I boost up my cargo, it automatically reduces my fuel. So let's say I've got like full fuel, 175 gallons. Man, you're telling me I can fly from Canada to Texas? This is like unheard of. Please tell me if I'm like out here on my own. But like Colorado to California, you can fly from like Maine to Miami solo? Like, is this range simulate? Let's say I got someone else with me. Okay, let's say we're like 500 pounds. So even at 500 pounds, they're claiming right here. Okay, let me see. Oh, you guys can't even see that. Okay, at 500, you can go 700 nautical miles. Man, but even solo, pilot plus passengers, you just got solo, like, man, I mean, even up there in Canada, which is like real far, like anyone that lives in Canada, does that make sense to you? I just find that to be a lot. Okay, I gotta keep going. Funding flight test is scheduled for December 6th. Okay, great, that'd be great. Keep in mind that they are actually using avionics from a leading provider that we all know. Then they use the bus and the API to generate digital cockpit on top of it. The avionics are certified. That I did not know, and if that is true, which sure, I'll take your word for it, Steve. I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of using like a certified product and then putting your own displays over top of it. If that's cool, that is innovative and that is special. And that is really, really smart. And that totally nullifies my avionics point. I know you guys are like way far ahead. Okay, from the start of it, Russia took 1 year to have a running prototype and test bench, and 4 years before it was ready for mass production, and over 100 million in funding. Great point. This is causing my concerns, one of my concerns. Bill, I visited Robinson way back in the 80s to meet Mr. Robinson. I was surprised at how basic and hand-built each helicopter was. The factory looked very basic with nothing fancy at all. I went a couple years ago and it was pretty technically advanced. I mean, they still do a lot of hand labor, but I mean, pretty technically advanced. I'm just going to go full face here. I just got to read through these comments. We'll watch the videos. I mean, this is going to go longer. I know there's a big helicopter pilot shortage, and it is unfortunate that flight training is very expensive, and the career overall earnings is much less than fixed wing. You really have to love it. Yes, let me just quickly talk about that. I hate that about the helicopter industry. I flew airplanes too. I've got like 60, maybe 70 hours in like small airplanes, Cessnas. I've got some time in a PC-12, and I like flying airplanes too, but come on, man. If you're talking about skill level and like workload and just like pilot ability, the helicopters are way harder to fly and it takes way more skill. I mean, that's just my objective analysis in my opinion. But the difference is if you're flying like a 737 or 777, an A320, you're flying way more people in the cargo, and you're just providing a lot of value to a lot of people, and the economies of scale, one of my favorite words, is way higher. So that's why they get paid more. But I think helicopter pilots should be paid more. Helicopter pilot shortage can be solved with some part of the machine learning and sensors controlling all the heli. That will be safer than humans? To some extent, yes. I think systems and AI and avionics can make aviation safer for sure. But there is you gotta have some stick skill a little bit. Once the Hill engines have over 50,000 flight hours, then maybe I'll look at going for a flight in one. I agree. I think I would do it at less. I don't think I'm going to be one of the first to, who knows, maybe I'll be one of the first to fly it. I don't know if that opportunity comes up. The R44 rotor inertia is nowhere near the 206's rotor inertia. I'm typed on both and have flown on both. Well, I have flown both as well. I have flown both the R44 and the 206. The 206 is better, for sure, but the R44 has good rotor inertia, in my opinion. Caffeine-free Diet Coke. Never mind. This man can't be trusted. Man, come on. It's 7 o'clock on a Friday. I got a little kid. I can't be up late. The other issue that I noticed is a lot of people overlook Another issue that I notice a lot of people overlook is that the new engine, you need to train maintenance engineers all over the world to maintain these helicopters. That's a great point. One of the benefits that these legacy manufacturers have is that they have very experienced maintenance personnel that have worked on these engines. I mean, if you look at like the Saffron or the PT6, that's the engine that I have right now. I love the PT6 engine. Pratt & Whitney, very established. Engineers and mechanics that know the PT6 engine. You would have to train up a whole new fleet of mechanics, which is hard. I'm not saying they can't do it, but that is challenging. You don't need a type rating for an R44. Yes, you do in Canada. Huh, interesting. What the fuck? What the heck? Sorry. R22 autos, you got like less than a second. Yeah. I think I made that point. Did I not? But yeah, the R22 autos are terrible. Yeah, I'm grateful for the R22, but I'm thrilled to not thrilled is a strong word. I'm grateful to be flying a different helicopter. And you need a turbine endorsement and a night VR endorsement and a mountain flying endorsement. Man, I'm grateful. In America, okay, maybe aviation is like, I don't know, it feels pretty safe here too, but I am grateful that we don't have to do all this. Sorry guys, I'm just reading through these comments real quick. R66 has a huge turbine spool-up lag, making auto rotations challenging. Interesting. I don't have a ton of R66 time, so I don't have any R66 time. I've never, maybe in flight school? I don't think I've, definitely not enough to have an opinion on it, but I have heard the turbine lag is pretty bad. The 407, very minimal turbine lag. 206, definitely some turbine lag. Victor, that is exactly what we pilots don't want. We want to be pilots, and it is safe if done right. Miracle at the Hudson is the best example of where human thought and design making is very important. I do like how Canada's CFIs are much more experienced. I do like that too. Man, when I was a young student, I didn't know anything about helicopters. I didn't have anyone in the industry. My path to becoming a helicopter pilot was like super weird. I did not know I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. I had not done a ton of research. I just became a helicopter pilot. I've got videos on my channel about how I did it. But when I was going to flight school, I was like, okay, this is going to be $120,000. These are the career expectations. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to flight school and there's going to be all these like experienced helicopter pilots that have done all these cool things, search and rescue offshore. And then I get there and it's like, my first instructor was like 3 years older than me. And I was like, and then like all the other instructors were like young too. There were a couple that were older and I was like, and then I learned that like, oh yeah, young CFIs. Like right after flight school, you become a CFI, which is crazy. That is a crazy, crazy, crazy concept. It works, but I mean, I thought it would be experienced CFIs too. Okay, MDog FPV. Yes, you locked in that price at that point. Some peeps never invested in anything before. I like it. I like it. Okay, that's good to know. That would be crazy. That would be crazy if they were like, nah, you locked in, or you put in the deposit, and then like 10 years later they bump the price. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. But that would be crazy. You are guaranteed the price that exists in your contract when you place the order. That's great. I am really far behind. Okay, let's see. Let's see. This is way more fun. I should do this way more. This is great. Okay. The Canada laws just make it harder and more expensive to become a pilot. I think that's true. I think it's true. We do it relatively safely here in America, and we have less regulation. There are so many warning signs, it's crazy. I love the look of the heli and want them to succeed, but they won't. Victor, very strong opinion. I like it. I like that people are having strong opinions here. I don't know that they won't succeed. I think that there's a good chance that they will. But I don't know. Devin, reach out to me and I'll cover all your expenses for a trip to the UK. Wow, that is quite the offer. DM me on Instagram, or you can find my email on YouTube. If that's really an offer, thank you. That is extremely generous. Well, consider it. Thank you. Wow. Okay, Victor says, just look where they built the first factory. Not possible to expand it. No airfield. It's in an industrial area with buildings close to it. This is a great point. Can I want to share my screen real quick. I think that's actually a really, 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 really prudent point. Did I get like outside aerial? Do they have outside aerial footage? I'm just scrolling through here. Okay, they must have their, can we go to Google Earth real quick? Okay, let me do this real quick. Hill helicopters. Can we throw this in Google Earth real quick? And guys, I'm happy to talk about anything else. Okay, Hill helicopters. Can we like layers? So they obviously do have their building, but like yeah, I mean you got a highway. If this is actually the place, Hill helicopters. So if they are able to produce all the helicopters they want right here, okay, then they might be able to do it. But this does not seem like a very large manufacturing space. Victor, there is a pad right beside it, and they signed a lease for an airport-adjacent manufacturing facility. Man, I wish we could all jump on a phone call, because I'd love to just, like, hang out with you guys and just actually have this conversation. I don't see an airport close by. Okay. Because if they can actually expand that, that'd be great. Pets at Home Distribution Warehouse, Stafford. That's great. Okay, let's see. Victor, okay, we just read that. Every aircraft manufacturer build their manufacturing plant away from buildings with the possibility to have a landing strip and expand the factory size. Okay. Steve, do it. That would be such a cool video. It would be. That'd be great. 700 nautical mile. Geez, my Cirrus SR-22 only gets 950 nautical miles, cruising at 170. Yeah, and that's an airplane. Hopefully the quality's okay. I just got an alert. You guys let me know if the quality drops. The pad is very small and it's still surrounded by a big warehouse. If something happens at depart or landing, they will have another big warehouse 50 meters away. Yeah, so if you're actually thinking, if you're gonna actually land right here, and actually I think I had that in the video.
Of the aircraft and engine. The starter generator test rig is finally installed, commissioned, and we're ready to start testing of Module 1 of the GT50 engine. The speed reduction test rig for Module 4 will be completed by the end of the year as scheduled. We've completed testing on the final configuration of HX50's landing and navigation lights, and we've brought together all of the sensors and hardware required for a flying version of the Digi-cockpit. In addition to that, we've now got everything under the one roof at PC1 to enable us to carry out the casting of high-quality aerospace turbine blades.
Yeah, pretty steep approach there.
And all of the other intricate components that we need to make for the environment for the...
Okay, let's keep going. Steve, you can't cover his if he's already covering my expenses. Haha. I just can't understand why they chose that location for building helicopters. Yeah, interesting location. Let's keep going. Like, they expect to fail, but will keep the building with some kind of company structure agreement. Yo, I work for a DoD aerospace company, and I've been to Robinson Factory in the last year. Nothing is advanced there. Maybe they are advanced if you're a 2002 lol way behind. Hey, man, 2002? I don't know. I think they're pretty advanced. I mean, well, maybe they're not advanced. I don't know. I haven't been there in a couple years. But listen, I'm just a pilot. I just fly the things. I don't know. Are they advanced? I don't know. It's hard to compare because I've never been to like Bell or Leonardo factory, so it's hard to tell. Maybe they're not advanced. You might be right. Victor, I'm with a 2-6 with a 3-blade. Wish. The turbine lag is there, but it's not horrible in full down autos, and it's fine. But power recovery autos, it can get interesting. That's true. Oh, okay. Let's see. Steve just said where the airport is. Let's check on that real quick. Wolverhampton Halfpenny Green Airport. What a name. Okay, let's type that in real quick. Let me share my screen. Wolverhampton, sorry. Oh, what a cool name. Halfpenny Green Airport. Okay, so here's that. Isn't it? That's such a British name. I love it. That is super cool. Okay, let's look at Hill helicopters. PC1. Okay, that's 46 minutes away. I mean, by helicopter, it's less. So, I mean, it's like a 15-minute flight. What's your point? That seems like really far away. What are they going to use this airport for? Because, like, if you're going to fly all your Hill helicopters away out of there, that just seems far. Yes, don't you need an airfield nearby for flight testing? Not necessarily. I mean, you ideally, yes. Robinson does have that advantage there because they're right there on the airport, and most manufacturers have a flight testing facility right there. Yeah, actually, you make a great point. So, I mean, if you're just doing regular flight testing, you could keep a helicopter there. Did someone say they bought a facility there? If they have a hangar, okay, that's one thing. But yeah, that seems like a little bit far for flight testing, man. Because what if you got to keep doing iterations and you need to change something? I mean, that's kind of far, right? If they have the funding, everything is possible, but the time frame is not. Yeah, that's great. So let's just go back here. Okay, so range. Anyone that's like super on the bandwagon, like let's talk about that. Range is super interesting. Let's see. Building everything. Let me see what the price point is unrealistic. Price point we kind of covered that. Okay. All right, Steve just said separate facilities. So PC1 is going to get them through the initial stage of production. Then the final manufacturing will move or be expanded to the airports. Okay. Do you know if they have actually acquired or purchased that land? That makes more sense. That makes more sense. Hill should invite you to their headquarters. They don't have to do anything to me. I'm just a lowly pilot. I just have a big mouth and I like to talk about helicopters, and I'm trying to be fair and balanced. I know that's the old Fox News thing, but I truly am trying to be fair and balanced. I'm trying to give points where I see them. I have no vested interest in any company. I keep these Robinson up there because I just happened to get these Robinson things when I was at the factory instructor course, and I've ordered them. But I have no bias towards any company. I love helicopters in general. But Hill doesn't have to do anything for me. They are out there on a mission and they are busy. I am just commenting and calling balls and strikes as far as I can see them. They had a Hanleys. Trade Fav 444 says, what do you think caused the recent helicopter crash? I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to speculate. It's devastating. It's devastating. And I didn't know the pilot personally, but I used to fly that exact tour route. I used to work down there. I used to fly tours down there. I did tours and charters in New York City. And I'm biased. And it's just really, really sad, and I think it's too soon. You know, people make that joke like too soon, but I truly do think it's too soon. Some YouTubers, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a pilot that has a YouTube channel. Some YouTubers are speculating and doing analysis. No, not for me. That's not my job. I'm not an expert. I am a pilot that likes to talk about helicopters and likes to get people into the industry and get excited about the industry. My job is not to do accident analysis as it stands right now. I do some like small accident analysis, but yesterday was a really, really, really bad day for aviation. A really bad day for aviation. For the helicopter world, 2025 has been bad. That DC American Airlines crash was really bad for the aviation industry. Yesterday was really bad for the aviation industry. We had that fatal EC-135 medevac crash. It's just a really bad time. So I don't want to speculate on it. I think next week I'm going to post a video just sharing my thoughts about what it means and just how I perceived, because yesterday was a tough day for me. It's not about me, but it's about the people that died and the pilot and the company and everyone involved. And God rest their souls. But I think I'll post a video next week, and I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just a pilot that likes to talk. I don't know what I'm going to do. I post videos about things that I want to talk about, things that I find interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. Obviously, I need some more time to come to terms with my thoughts. The range is simple math, 5-hour fuel tank. Okay, maybe let's go back into that. They could succeed if they move fast and break things, iterate fast, but they work so slow they have nothing to break. Can 206s do low G mass pumping? Yeah, 206s can have low G mass pumping. It's a two-bladed rotor system. That's definitely a possibility. Can't imagine what they would have felt in those final few seconds. Would have been terrifying. Yeah. Yep. The videos are terrible. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine. That's terrible. I think the 206 can do low G mass pumping. Otherwise, I would have bought it. Yeah, I mean, that is a downside in two-bladed rotor systems. And I was skeptical. I was skeptical about the Robinson R88, and then I did that interview with the CEO, and I learned a lot. I mean, I just learned as much as you guys did at that moment. But I also think I don't know. I don't know how this accident is. I don't. Maybe it just feels fresh right now and it feels bad. But I don't know if having a two-bladed rotor system is going to affect the industry and affect what people think about two-bladed rotor systems. Sorry, Steve just said, it would be great if your video covered the technical analysis and how the results of technical analysis get rolled into ADC. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to do that. I don't know if I'm smart enough to do it. I don't know if I'm smart enough to have any of these conversations, but I do it anyways. What was the point I was making? Oh, a two-bladed rotor system. It can be flown safely. I do believe that. There are pilots with thousands of hours on Robinson products, on Bell products, that can fly that safely. And you can build in technology and you can iterate, but there is problems with low G mass bumping recent news, man. Yeah. Oh, really? Low G mass bump recent news? Did they say that? I'm just gonna go full screen. Is that, I don't know if that's what you're saying, but let's just low G mass bump Hudson 206. I'm not gonna speculate. I don't want to get into this. Low G mass bumping Hudson 206. New York Magazine. Do I trust New York Magazine? No, I don't know. Are these people aviators? Where are they getting this information from? What is mass bumping, and did it cause the helicopter? Okay, I don't want to, guys. I'm sorry. Let's talk about something else. I don't want to talk about it. We can talk about my acne in my face. Ugh. All right. 4-seat version of the Cabri G2 would be nice. I agree. So interesting. I don't know if it's true, but I think a 4-seat version of the Cabri G2 is going to happen. I think the Cabri G2, I know all you guys Hill lovers out there. I want to say I'm a Hill hater or Hill lover, but I think a 4-seat version of the Cabri G2 would be a big deal. That is kind of, the Hill HX50 and the HG50, they're kind of similar to what I think a 4-seat version of the Cabri G2 would be. I mean, if you look at this helicopter, and I love the Cabri, I mean, this is, you guys, if you've seen my channel, you know that this is one of the helicopters I love most. But a 4-seat version of the Cabri G2, Fenestron, 3-bladed, articulated rotor system. I mean, and I love the Cabri. They really did something special with this helicopter. This is best training helicopter in the world, by far. Best training helicopter. There is nothing in comparison to the Cabri G2. I mean, if you could go train in a 407, okay, that would be better. But if they brought a 4-seat version of this, that would rival. This is why, if you saw that video that I posted, let's see. It was basically like why Robinson had to innovate. For some reason, this video, no one wanted to watch my weather briefing. That's how I actually do a weather briefing. I thought it was actually a pretty good video. But, okay. Why Robinson had to innovate. Did Robinson, I think it was in this video, did Robinson just make a huge announcement, R88 breakdown? I basically said why Robinson had to innovate, because you have Hill coming up, you have the Cabri coming up, you have all the eVTOL companies coming up, you have all these companies coming up. So Robinson had to innovate, so they innovated with the R88. Was it the right choice? I don't know. But I think the Cabri G4 could be a game changer. All right. NTSB hasn't said anything. Everyone is just speculating. Yeah, I think that's true. And I'm not mad about speculating. I don't want to do it right now. And I have a public profile, and these videos are saved, and I just don't want to speculate right now. But it was a terrible accident. Yeah, and the NTSB hasn't said anything. Accident investigations take so long, and they should. It needs to be a very long, drawn-out, full investigation. And when we get to the bottom of that, could change the industry. Yeah. Okay, sorry. TC guy. I doubt it had anything to do with mass bumping. The rotor was still attached to the transmission. I don't want to get into speculation, but I understand what you're saying. It makes me sick to my stomach, too. Yeah. It's hard to describe how sick. Whenever it happens, and for you guys that are pilots out there, that you're not pilots out there, it's hard to, if you are a pilot, maybe you empathize with me and feel this too, but it's hard to describe how sick it makes you feel, and to see another pilot out there who is no longer with us, and he was flying a family, and they're no longer with us. It's hard to describe how sick and how bad it makes you feel. Sometimes it makes me think I don't want to be a pilot because I don't want to die in a helicopter. I really don't. And it's the worst part about this industry. I love talking about helicopters. That's why I started the YouTube channel, because sorry, I just see more comments coming in. That's the reason I started the YouTube channel, is because I love helicopters, but I hate when this happens. I hate when any incident happens. But, you know, it's like people have incidents in car accidents and die in car accidents, but it's just different when it's a helicopter. We try to make it as safe as possible, and then when you see accidents, it's like, it just sucks. But I think I will make a video next week, and I think the general synopsis of the video is going to be, we just keep on moving, we keep going, and our jobs matter. Helicopters matter. It is fun for us, and we're here on a Friday night talking about helicopters, but legitimately, they matter. Because what we do, okay, you take like what I do, helicopter, air ambulance, yeah, it's very clear the matter, because we like save lives and we legitimately help people and save their lives, but all of the helicopter industry jobs matter. Firefighting matters. Utility, we're providing, I mean, the guys that fly utility power line, they are legitimately providing power for people that keep them alive, that keep ventilators turned on and keep electricity going and keep houses warm. Matters. Offshore, oil and gas, same thing. Offshore windmill. And then people like in the tour industry, okay, you're like, oh, tour pilots don't matter. Well, maybe they get to make people's lives here a little bit better by sharing some joy in the sky. That matters. But likely that tour pilot is on the path to something bigger, something more cool, something more important. Construction, building, putting things together. Every single job in the helicopter world matters. So we can learn as much as we can from that accident, but we got to keep moving, and we got to learn, and we got to get better. But our jobs matter, and we can't stop. We need to get safer, we need to get better, but we have to keep pushing because people matter. And our jobs matter. Sorry, our jobs matter. So, little diatribe. Let's keep going. We got 20 minutes left. I did not think that this was going to go this well. I didn't think anyone was actually going to jump on. I'm surprised people actually leaving comments, and thank you. I'm surprised that anyone watches my YouTube videos. It's crazy. Man, I want to go back into flight school, but there are no flight schools left in Scotland. Scotland, how cool. I'd love to go to Scotland. The G2 is an awesome machine. Steve, we agree. Yes, thank you, Steve. Great point. And Steve, thank you for being so active. And on that video, you made some great points. And I know we've been going back and forth at it, but we are all just we all enjoy talking about helicopters. We all enjoy aviation. So this back and forth bickering, we're all family. Maybe I'm a little bit emotional because of yesterday, and we should be. But we're all family here, man. We all like aviation. So since I eat no dairy, I don't have acne at all. Man, maybe that's what I need to do. So maybe I'll just share, I don't know. I hate I'm still young, so I still get acne. Maybe one day that'll go away, but I hate it. Like when I'm editing my videos, I'm just like watching my acne. You guys don't care, but it sucks. But it's just part. Everyone has their own thing. I want Robinson R33. Me too. That'd be great. Right in the middle of like an R22 and an R44. I don't know. The R88, for example, is made by the largest manufacturer. Already has a proven engine and avionics. And all they need to do is develop the airframe. And it's still meant to take longer than the HX50. Yes. Great synopsis, Tom. Exactly right. The R88 has avionics, a proven engine, largest helicopter manufacturer, and it's going to take longer. Great point. Great point. I enjoyed your weather brief, similar to how our pilots do theirs. Always interesting to see how each pilot does their brief. Thank you, Joe. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you for watching it. That's the reason why I record every single one of my flights with a GoPro. I take back and learn from my flight safety if something happened. Yes. If something happens, I want people to learn. I'm not speaking for anyone else that's been in an incident, or I'm not speaking for any, but the point is, if something happens to me in a helicopter, I want people to learn from it, and I want people to be safer, and I don't want that to happen to them. So I'm not speaking for anyone else. This is just my personal opinion, and this is how I view accidents in the industry, is I want to learn from it. I don't want people's deaths to go in vain. So I want to learn from accidents. And if, yeah, exactly. Bill, thank you. Every accident makes you reevaluate being a pilot. Oh, okay. I'm glad someone else agrees. I don't think I'm gonna leave the industry, but it makes you wonder. It's like you see an accident and you're like, and then your wife or your spouse says, and then your mom calls and she goes, and then your friends all text you and they go, I don't know. It's like we all love what we do, and then when there's like a gap between accidents, you're like, oh, it's great, and then as soon as one comes, it's like a slap in the face, and it's like it makes you go, I don't know. That's just, I don't know if I'm slaying that right, but yeah. That's the reason I got life insurance for my family. If anything were to happen to me, aviation is dangerous no matter what. Yeah. That's why I have life insurance too. I took out a big old policy and I had to go through a lot, but it's like, if I die in an accident, I want my family to be okay. Preach! Thanks. I've somehow accepted that the piston engine is a perfect choice for the G2. Better fuel economy and range than a small single-stage turboshaft engine. I've never seen the comparison, and I haven't put that much thought into it, but it makes sense. Learned on the R22, then got my type rating on the R44 after. Was enjoyable to fly alongside the S92s around Aberdeen. Wow, that's super cool. And price. World Economic Forum heli shuttle don't matter. If you weren't a pilot, what career would you go into? I don't know. I got... Oh, thank you. Add a name here, whatever your name is. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was extremely kind of you. Very nice. Wow. Thank you. I don't know what that means, but thank you. It was extremely generous of you. If I weren't a pilot, what career would I go into? I don't know. I feel blessed by God that I found this career, because I had no idea. Bill, I think, yeah, it usually doesn't cover general aviation pilots. I don't do it as general aviation. I actually do no general aviation flying. I do it exclusively commercially under a Part 135 ticket. Thank you. Add a name here. Whatever your name is, thank you. You can put your name there if you want. I operate exclusively under Part 135 now, and I got my life insurance when I was operating exclusively Part 135, and I don't do any general aviation. My understanding is that my life insurance does cover that policy, or cover me during at work, and the company I work for, I do have life insurance as well. If I were to have an incident at work, my understanding is that I'm going to be protected pretty well. Okay, question. We got last 10 minutes. We'll just hang out. This has been incredibly fun. I think I might do this more. This is great. I really enjoy talking about helicopters, and to do it with multiple other people, 20 people at a time. It's not like a ton of people, but this has been more fun than I planned. What would I do? I don't know. I got started kind of on this, but I feel blessed by God that I found this career and that I found aviation. I had no connection to the industry at all. I knew nothing about helicopters. I knew nothing about this world, this aviation world. I tell this story about, I was like, got on a YouTube rabbit hole, and I was just watching helicopter videos, and I was like, that'd be pretty cool. And I was stupid enough to think I could do it. So I did it. So I went to Mauna Loa Helicopters. I went to a flight school on the Big Island of Hawaii and took out a big old fat student loan that I'm still paying for. And 110, 115,000 something in there. And I'm a helicopter pilot now. I don't know what else I'd be doing. I have no idea. I haven't really put any thought into it, because I did it right when I graduated high school. I graduated high school, I know this is going to surprise some of you, in 2019. 2019 is I graduated high school and I went straight to flight school, and I've just been chugging along since. I haven't really put much thought into what else I would do. I don't know. Maybe I'd go work for the FAA. Ooh, go to the dark side. There's some benefit to like a non-flying position. And as I've got a kid and a wife, and as I grow in the industry, the amount of exposure, and every time there's an accident, like I told you guys, I mean, I go and my wife goes and my mom goes and my family goes, and people call you and they text you. So all of that is true. So I don't know. Could I potentially move out of a non-flying position? I could see it. I love flying helicopters, and it's been the greatest joy of my life. But I don't know. But also, I don't know. I love flying helicopter. I don't know. I have no idea. So we'll move on. We need more of these live streams, Evan. I think this was a greater success than I could have planned. It's just been so fun. This has been more fun than I could have ever imagined. Did you fly RC helicopters as a kid? No. Well, yes, I did have a couple RC helicopters, but I didn't get to do it. I didn't really get that much into it. I think, so I was a Boy Scout growing up. I actually got my Eagle Scout, so I'm an Eagle Scout. And I got to see helicopters, and then there was like a hospital that was actually built right next to my house, and they had a helicopter fly in, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I never thought I could do it. And then my mom went on a helicopter tour in Alaska or Montana, and she was like, that's the coolest thing. And so I had a couple moments, but I never really thought about it. I never thought I could do it. I barely got out of high school. I wasn't like a smart kid. And people always ask, like, do you have to be smart to be a helicopter pilot? Well, I don't know, maybe, but I did not feel smart in school, like in elementary school, middle school, high school. Look at this. On a Friday night, I'm just telling my life story, but whatever. I didn't think I was smart. I didn't think I was smart. I struggled, not struggled, but like I wasn't good at school, but I didn't think I was smart. Sorry, I'm distracted. Let's keep going. Are you a federal worker? Do you get a pension? No, I'm not a federal worker. I work for an independent company. The way helicopter air ambulance works in the U.S., as far as I know, for most places, I mean, you can work for like a government program or like a state program. But most companies are like standalone for-profit or non-for-profit companies. And no, you don't get a pension. We all pay into like a 401k or retirement typically. But no, there's no pension. I've considered going to like a government job, either state or federal, because at my young age, I could go work for 20, 25 years and get a pension. Some places still have a pension, so I think that'd be great. All right, we got 8 minutes. I'm going to keep going. I assume you wear a helmet for your job. What's your opinion on helmets in GA? I think I do wear a helmet. I wear, I forgot the name of it. It was just like a company issued helmet. I want to go buy like a real one. Here's what I was thinking. I don't know. You guys tell me if you think it's crazy. I still have a small YouTube channel. 8,000 subscribers is not that much. But I was thinking about reaching out to some companies and like doing a comparison. I'll go fly with it at work for a while. And maybe they could send me some helmets and then I could figure out what I want. I think helmets are great. I think everyone should wear a helmet. I think you should wear a helmet in flight. I didn't. I wore my Bose A20s. These are my Bose A20s, the exact ones I had in flight school. I think everyone should wear a helmet. Bird strikes are real. If you crash, it gives you a better chance. I'm not saying it's gonna be the reason you survive, but it gives you a better chance. But I think it would be hard in the tour and charter industry to convince people that what you're doing is safe if the pilots are up there wearing helmets. But in pretty much any operation where you don't care about image, like tours or charter, I think you should wear a helmet. Yes, they're kind of cumbersome, but like I get really used to it, and I like having my helmet. If you crash a helicopter, I mean, it's likely to be pretty bad. Helicopter crashes don't usually crash safely. Hi, Devin. Or by Devin. Okay, sorry, Downwasher said this. Never show off with a helicopter and your guardian angel will most likely won't let you down. I think that's true. I'm a religious guy. I wasn't always religious, but I think God is real. I think Jesus is real. And I think he is looking after everyone. And we don't always understand what's going on, but I believe he's looking after us. But to your main point, no, you should not show off with a helicopter. And I have to say, I mean, I've done some stuff in helicopters that, like, I'm not proud of it. And I look back and I was like, that was really, really stupid. I try to learn from all those. I try to learn from other people doing stupid stuff and having accidents. And I try to learn and, like, internalize that and never let it happen to me. But I've done my own stuff where I was like, dang. Like, not that I got away with it, but, like, that was probably not ideal. I probably shouldn't do that. You're definitely right with accidents causing concern. I had multiple people texting me wanting to make sure it wasn't me in the Hudson accident. Yeah, people text you, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy that people care, but it's like, it sucks, and it sucks to worry. Like, even like your immediate family, yes, they're gonna text you and they're gonna be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Especially if you live in close proximity to where an accident happened. But all of your, like, everyone that knows you're in a helicopter, like, or you like helicopters, or that you fly helicopters, or that you're in and involved helicopters, um, everyone gets concerned. Like, even like high school or college friends, you know. Just reminds me of all the accidents in the North Sea around that time. I started learning. I think midway through was they were grounded. All of the Super Pumas. Wow, man, aviation accidents suck. Never show off with your helicopter. Yeah, that's true. What does the FAA stand for? Wrong answers only. I don't know. I feel like I have a very public profile, and I probably shouldn't make fun of the FAA. I don't. I think they actually do a really important job. Do I agree with everything they do? No. Do I dislike certain things? Sure. But I think in general the FAA does like a pretty good job. And we actually have, I think we're pretty blessed here in America because we have like, not a lax FAA, but like we get to do, like, general aviation in America is incredible. Like, all of the airports, like, you can just go get Jet A or 100 low lead anywhere. And there's so many small airports with all these little diners and all that. Man, you can just fly anywhere in America. It's just the most beautiful thing. It is such a cool country to do aviation in. Granted, I've never done aviation in another country, but from what I know, I mean, just the airport infrastructure that we have is just beautiful. It's just, and I don't know how I got started with the FAA, but I think the FAA is good. I think the FAA is good. I have to say that. They do certain things that I dislike. I watched a stall spin recovery video and realized that planes are way more scary. Man, I agree. I always made this case, and I truly believe it, but if you have an engine failure in a helicopter, I mean, if you're a pilot, like, and you do full down autos, you get pretty good at full down autos. If you do them regularly, like, you get pretty good at full down auto rotations, and I feel like if my engine failed, I would have a pretty good shot getting that down into a field. But there's other things that can go wrong in a helicopter that sketch me out. But of course, you know, that's why pre-flights matter, and that's why not doing stupid stuff matters, and learning from other accidents matters. But I think helicopters are pretty safe, equally as safe as airplanes. I don't know. No, I'd say I don't know. There's certain airplanes are safer for certain things than helicopters. I don't know. It's mixed. It's mixed. Come to Australia and fly with me. I'd love to come to Australia. Where in Australia do you live? That'd be great. So, all right, we had I think we had a pretty good discussion about the Hill HX50. It's a pretty good discussion, and I just want to say this: like, people thought I didn't like research that video or put that much thought into it. I actually did. I actually thought about it quite a bit, and I was actually quite hesitant to post it because I knew that there was going to be some backlash. And actually, the comments were like pretty healthy. I think some people are quite bought into the project, and that's good. And I want innovation in the industry. Don't get me wrong, but I'm truly just as best as I can calling balls and strikes, telling it how I see it. And I think I don't know. I think there's a chance they're going to do it, but I do have concerns. So I definitely did some research. I definitely thought about it before I posted that video. That's why I tell my mom to make her feel better. I have a better chance in the helicopter. Yeah, I think I like to say that kind of stuff too. I hate doing autos in the R22 and the R44. I loved it. The R22 is scary when it comes to autos. Yeah, I agree. I'm grateful for the R22. That is the only way I was able to get into helicopters. I got 1 minute left. I don't know if this thing is going to kick me off when it ends, but majority of accidents seem to be human errors when looking at accident reports. I think tech can really help guide the pilot when critical situations are identified. Hey man, I think you're right. I think AI and computer systems are really grateful or really good and absolutely could help in those critical situations. Devin, do a meet and greet at Verticon next year? Yes. I've gone for pretty much every year. I skipped this year. I should have gone. But yeah, I'd love to do a meet and greet. Just hang out and talk helicopters. I live on properties out west flying helicopters and mustering, and I'm working on doing my A&P license. Oh, that's sick. That's awesome. Man, you Australians, you get after it. You guys know what you're doing out there. They're starting production at the main rotors in 3 weeks, according to the video they uploaded a few hours ago. I saw that too. Mixed thoughts, mixed opinions on that. All right. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for me to go. This has been more fun than I could have imagined. I think I'm going to do this more regularly. I want to say thank you, everyone, for watching my videos. I can't believe anyone watches them. When I started the channel, the purpose was to talk about helicopters. The channel is not that big, but I try to do it regularly. It's hard with a family and a full-time job, but I do like talking about helicopters, and I'm really grateful that any of you guys watch my videos, let alone come and hang out with me for a couple hours on a Friday night. So really thank you. I think we'll do this again. So, all right, I'll end it here. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Keep your heads up, and I will see you next week.